yourself already. I'm going to hand it over to Tom to get you going.
Okay then. So as my go live suggested, we're doing it about talking to leads and responding to more info requests. So we are jumping straight into interaction with the one second. So we are jumping straight in to like interaction and getting your questions answered and stuff. I've asked Lily and Adam to jump in, and anyone else can jump in with answers and stuff. And I'll, with the answers given, I'll kind of give like almost the psychology behind why the answer will or won't work and what response it will drive. So we'll get straight in. So what questions have stumped you? Let's talk about it. So who wants to go first?
What company are you with?
Okay, so with that one, obviously you can't say directly in admin because it's part of the policy with CEO that you don't divulge until they've signed up. However, you can. What I say in response to that question is, unfortunately, due to policy, I cannot say the company's name or directly like expose the products. However, I can tell you they're multi-billion-dollar. They are in the health sector, and they only sell high-ticket products, which means your commission is going to be through the roof in comparison to anything else.
I say something very similar. I just say, unfortunately, I can't disclose the company that we work for until you're a member of the community. But if you take a look, normally that they ask that before they watch the masterclass anyway. So I say, if you take a look at the masterclass, it'll explain what we do and how we do it. And then you can make a decision whether you want to join the community or not.
Yeah.
Route around it.
I say something similar, and like as soon as you sort of mention that the healthcare products, like Tom said, that's generally answers their question.
Mm-hmm.
I find anyway.
Okay, next person.
We got some more in the chat as well.
Yeah, I'm just getting it up.
Can I ask one?
Yeah.
Okay. So I actually had this, I think it was this morning, from somebody who, Lilibeth, the guy that was saying how beautiful you were.
That guy.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, literally.
He was asking, like, he put it to me, and I was sort of like, oh, what do I say? He was like saying, after the initial sign up of £79, I bet there's thousands of pounds to invest. And I was just like trying to find a way to word, well, it's kind of true, but not really. So I didn't know what to say. So I just sort of said something along the lines of, you know, how much, it doesn't need to cost thousands. How much you invest is really down to you. But I didn't really get much of a response back. So I don't think you like the sound of that. So I was wondering what anybody else might have said to that question.
I'll jump in. I think he's doing the rounds actually, Charisse, because he messaged me at first on Saturday night, and I had a few drinks as well. So I might have been a bit more like straightforward with him than I would be with a normal person, but it was all right. What I would say to that is, and what I do say to it is, there is a further investment once you've joined. It can range from a matter of hundreds to thousands, but that is up to you. The more you put in, the more you get paid on sale. And then I sort of mentioned some figures like between, what is it, like £350 at 1A to over £2,000 at 6A per sale. And I just put that in as a little bit of a hook as well, because if people think that they've got to shell out hundreds or even thousands, they kind of want to know what they're going to get back as well. But then put the onus at the end of the message on them, like it's all up to you. You get out what you put in, sort of thing. I don't know if Tom or Lily or anyone else would answer that any different.
I pretty much answer it the same, if I'm honest. I say that I basically say with the CEO movement, there aren't any more costs involved. However, the company that we affiliate with, that you do have to basically purchase to affiliate in terms to get commission. And then I just say there's different levels that you can enter the business. But that's entirely up to you. The more you put in, the more you'll get out. So I kind of, again, like Adam said, I'll kind of touch on it, then I'll spin it around on them. Like, it depends on what kind of effort or what determination you've got towards this business and changing your life. That will help you. So that's the way that I spin it.
I'm not going to add another response into that because mine is basically like a mix of both. But I will say that whenever you talk about cost, never use the word cost. Always use investment, because
Yeah.
as soon as you see cost, you're like, oh, okay. It's almost like
you're taking something away from them.
You're just taking, and I'll get into shortly that one of the easiest ways to sell anything is to appear like you're giving them stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas if you appear to want to take, oh yeah, I want you to sign up, I want you to invest, it's going to cost you this, then they're instantly going to be like, okay, but what am I getting from this?
Yeah.
So you always need to spin it so it seems that they're getting more than you're getting back.
Yeah. That's thanks, Tom. Yeah, you're right. I think sometimes I do that simply because it's the language they use. So they will say to me, oh, how much does it cost? And I think subconsciously you don't even realise you've typed it back, well, it costs X amount. But you're right, I'll try and use an investment and I'll try that in the future. I mean, I pretty much have done what you guys have both said, except like what you said, Adam, I haven't been telling them what they'll gain out of it. So that's probably why I've lost them along the way there. So I'll give that a try. Thanks.
That's all right, Horn. I've got a question. No, I'm not going to say. Mine's, what do you do if somebody asks you for an interracial relationship? So you guys are going to get all kinds of crazy questions. Be prepared. That's my advice.
Okay.
All weird phone calls.
Yeah. Don't answer them.
Yeah, don't answer. If they call you with no message, don't answer.
Yeah. If anyone seems to be slightly kind of harassing you in any way, shape or form, or you're not happy with the messages you're receiving, either kind of give them a warning and just say, look, if you want to take back business, I'm more than happy to answer your questions. However, I'm not willing to talk about this subject, or just straight up block them.
Camila's been getting some nudies by the look of it.
Oh, wow.
Right. Right. Anybody else got anything to add?
No.
Come on, guys. You've got to have these questions. If you're running ads, you're going to have been asked something that's caught you off guard.
Jess, what was it that caught you off guard the other day? I think
Which day?
Picture.
Oh.
Sorry.
I can't remember which it was, but my other half just reminded me that this morning I had someone asking me about a visa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, thing is, they've already gone on to be a lead.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they've asked if I can do a phone call with them just to get a bit more information.
I think, again, if it's not business related, just try and say to them, look, if you want to speak about the opportunity that I'm advertising, I'm more than happy to kind of answer your questions. However, I don't have any knowledge or experience with visas, marriage, etc. So I can help you there.
That was pretty much what I said. They said, can I ask you a question? I said, sure, go ahead. They said, can I get help with a visa? Can I move to the UK? I said, that's up to you if you want to move to the UK. So will you help me with that? And I says, I don't know anything about visas.
Yeah, some people think they see your advert, and some people, I've had it before, they think it's a job offer. So they're like, yeah, I want to start, like, where do I sign up? And I'm like, it's not a job offer, it's a business opportunity.
Yeah.
So once you kind of corrected them, but again, I found for me personally, it was just a trigger word in my ad that sent off that floodgate of people thinking that it was a job offer rather than an opportunity. And once I changed that, it all stopped. So it could, like I said, I'm not saying it's necessarily an ad, but sometimes sometimes the wording in your ad can change everything. Because I had an ad running for about 2 weeks and I kept on wondering why everybody keeps sending me their CV and stuff. It's not a job. So yeah, it could be that as well.
Sorry, Cherise, I was just wondering.
No, it's fine.
Sprung to mind. Does anybody have a response to, is it a scam or is this a pyramid scheme? What do you guys say?
After today, I'll post them Harriet's video.
Yeah, definitely. Just forward them that. Has anybody kind of had that question yet? Has it kind of worried you or stopped you in your tracks at all?
I did have someone comment on one of my adverts in response to someone asking for information if it was legit.
Okay.
So I just basically responded to them saying, absolutely, I'll send you some information, and just sent them like information as well.
Yeah, like spin it in a positive way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best thing to do. Because then anybody seeing your ad and the comments on there will be like, oh, okay, well, she responded to, is it a scam? So I wonder what is actually going on there.
Okay, so my response to pyramid scheme accusations is simply that, like, I ask them, oh, are you currently employed? Yes. Okay, well, you already work in a pyramid scheme, because every single organisation on the planet is a pyramid, because there is always less people at the top making the rules, getting paid more than there is at the bottom. So to say that what I do is a pyramid is completely contradictory to what you currently do. And you've got, it is one of the ones where you almost lose the positive vibe that you'd give otherwise, and you just be blunt, because in a way, they've kind of insulted what you're doing by attaching this label to it. So I just go in blunt, saying, so you currently work a job, right? Yes. Okay, well, you work for a pyramid scheme anyway, because you're down here with your fellow colleagues that are on the shop floor or whatever, and then you've got managers above you where there are less of them, and then they've got the CEO above them where there's only one. So if you look at the structure, it's a pyramid. And just go in blunt. And I had this last week, and she ended up converting to a lead. After I said that, she became very positive and open-minded towards the opportunity. And then after about another 5-10 minutes of messages, she became a lead and was on the masterclass that same night. She didn't convert to a sign-up, but she went to the masterclass, and that's all you can do, really. You can only get them to the masterclass, and then it's their decision to make. You can only augment their decision.
I think it's understanding as well. Like, people don't understand what pyramid is, so they have the perception of what it is in their head, and then it comes to the point, and they're like, so this is this pyramid that everyone kind of talks about, but no one really knows what it is. So I think that's something you can throw back at them. We ask them what is a pyramid, and they can kind of they won't be able to give you an answer. I think that's kind of something else to use as well.
Yeah, I did.
That's fine as well. That would be my first question, response back to them. What in your opinion, what's pyramid? Let them explain it if they can, and then obviously go on from there.
You might even stump them. They might not even get back to you, because they're like, well, actually, I don't even know.
Yeah.
I've just heard of a pyramid scheme. I have no idea what it actually is. But yeah, definitely kind of reversing the question to them.
I once had somebody comment on one of my ads saying, oh, this is just a scam, it's binary options. So I was a bit like, so I just messaged them, and I was like, you know, you responded on my ad. I'm pretty sure binary options are a scam, whatever they are. And I think what threw them is the fact that I didn't even know what binary options were.
I didn't know you're on back.
Yeah, exactly. So he was like, I think that kind of got him up to think, well, oh, okay, it can't be a binary scam and if you don't know what I'm talking about. So I just sort of agreed with him and thought, yeah, binary options probably seem like a scam too. But that's not what I'm about. And then he wanted to know more. So sometimes actually, even though you, like you said, Adam, you do know, just act like you don't, because then that throws them, because then they think, oh, well then what do you do? So
Exactly.
I act stupid sometimes, it works.
Yeah, it does. I can definitely say it does. So it's a good tactic, that.
I think someone commented on Harriet's Go Live just. I think it was Sarah Joe or Bo, one of the US guys, saying that she could send her information. But she said something about pyramid schemes and proxy schemes or something. And I again was like looking at it like, what the hell does that mean? Literally, I have no idea what all these words are.
Yeah,
Ponzi scheme. Oh yeah, Ponzi. That's it. Yeah. I've heard of that. I do know a little bit about that, but it is basically just it's basically a scam. So if you don't know, if you don't mind, I'll tell you. Basically, a Ponzi scheme is when people get together. Say, for example, all of us on here now, we got together and said we're going to start a charity for, I don't know, disabled kids or whatever. But actually we'd be taking that money and only like 5% of it would be going to the charity and we'd all be taking the rest between us. So it's called a Ponzi scheme. I don't know why it's called a Ponzi scheme, but basically that's what it is if you didn't know.
But Ponzi's named after the guy. It was a guy in the 1920s. He created a Ponzi scheme. So the older investors collect the money from the newer investors. Money doesn't go anywhere apart from to the ones who originated it, and then they make all the money, and of course the new people coming in get nothing. But yeah, I don't remember his first name, to be honest. I know he was a chap who did it.
There we go, learn something new every day.
Okay, so has anyone had any ideas, questions? Okay. Shall we move on? Okay, so let's get into the main mastermind then now. So I'm going to go through kind of my thought process, my main like ideas and stuff around what about what goes through my head when I'm talking to someone, and how I kind of keep them engaged with me if the chat's going on for a long time, or if they're starting to seem as if they're switching off. So we'll get straight in. So some general tips that okay, never mind. Give me a second. If it won't restart. Technical difficulties.
For the IT girl.
For the IT girl.
The same.
Okay. So general tips. So they may not be on your lead sheet, but the second you get a comment or a message, they are technically a lead because they're a potential sign up. So treat them as if they're already on your team. Treat them as if they're your friend almost. So start off with, hey, how are you? What is it that has got you interested in an online opportunity? What's going on in your life right now that wants you to get into an online opportunity? And just be nice. Even if they come in saying, oh, what is this about? Just reverse the conversation and go in from the start with a greeting, just to show that you are actually human. So then when they say stuff to you, so if they ever say anything that is positive or could be seen as, yes, that's kind of what we say in the community, very positive, upbeat, driven, anything along those lines, along like our sayings of like make moves, not excuses, or mine of dream it, believe it, achieve it, then affirm them, make them feel good about it and say, yeah, I love that. And they'll be more like susceptible to anything you've got to say because you're bigging them up. You're making them feel good. So then they'll be like, well, this guy's making me feel good. Then this community of 1,000 or whatever must also be like this guy. Otherwise, why would this guy be in that community? Always show empathy, because the easiest way to sell is by attaining a pain point. But in order to use a pain point effectively, you need to show empathy, so you're not abusing it to the point where you're almost insulting the person or taking advantage of something that's happened to them or is happening to them. So, for example, if someone says, I have to work 3 jobs to cover my bills and stuff, just say, oh, it's terrible. I completely understand why you're looking for something else. This can definitely sort that issue out for you. It'll take some work, but you'll get there and you won't have to work 3 jobs anymore. Be relatable. So if there's ever an opportunity to use anything from your story as to how you've ended up where you are right now, use it. So, for example, one of the big things that I use is, I was talking to a girl probably a week and a half ago. She can't work long shifts and stuff, so her income suffers because she suffers with a medical condition, and it just so happens that it's the same medical condition my mum has. So I said, oh yeah, I completely understand. My mum has the same. She's been suffering with it for X amount of years, and it has taken a toll on her life, on her income and stuff. So I'm trying to get my mum involved with this business so she doesn't have to go out and do shifts at work and stuff. So you're instantly becoming, like, you have the appearance of understanding their situation, and upon showing that, they're more susceptible to divulging more information or completely eating everything up that you're saying as if it's a cake. And then my last point really is use leading questions. So a leading question is a question that's formulated to basically only have one outcome, which is the outcome you want. So it's kind of the act of putting a thought and an answer into someone's head, and then they believe it because they've just responded to your question. So the example I've written down is, so if you were quizzing someone on history, you could ask them about the year Columbus arrived in America. So the question would be, what year in the 15th century did Columbus reach the Americas? So the only answer they can give is in the 15th century. So you're basically just manipulating what's going on in their head, and they don't even realize it's happening, but it works in your favor.
You can do it in like little kind of questions as well, in terms of, to bring it back to like Project Q1 and anyone that's kind of commenting on your ad. We had a conversation with Adam earlier, so I'm about to rob your idea, Adam. But basically just saying to them, do you want a laptop lifestyle, or do you want to travel more? Do you want to spend more time with family, if they've mentioned family? And just kind of reaffirming to them what it is that they're looking for, like what they really want out of life. Just so that that's what they're focused on. They're like, yeah, I do want to travel more. Yeah, I do want to get away from my job. So it's an answer that's easy to them, because it's usually like a yes or no answer, or it's quite a direct question. So they'd be like, yeah, I want to spend more time with my family. So yeah, it's just kind of making them realise their why, like why they want to kind of have an online business, why they want to get away from the 9-to-5 grind, and just getting them to kind of keep coming back to that and keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, they're also like, although they're called leading questions, you're also getting what they call micro agreements from the lead. Because if you're firing questions like what Lily said, like you could fire the first one like, they might have given you the idea that they want to travel. So you're like, oh yeah, you like traveling, so you'd like to have a business that can allow you to travel. And they'd say, yeah, I'd love that. And then something, and then maybe move it on to financial freedom as well. So then you get another yeah, and you're just building up these yeses until the point that they're going to say, that you're going to say to them, so you're definitely up for watching this masterclass, and you're going to get the final yeah, and they're going to be diving straight into that masterclass. So they're all micro agreements, all yeses leading up to the big yes, if you like, which is watching the masterclass.
And then finally, just make sure you're always human. Never take something too far, be too pushy. Just be likable. You want to be approachable, because people don't want to join the team of someone that seems like an absolute dick.
Yeah, so just basically the whole idea of kind of when you first start speaking to someone, and Tom's got at the top there, a lead is a friend. So it's, you've got to think, if this person was to join your team, you're going to want to have some kind of like working relationship with them. You're going to want to build a friendship, and you're going to be kind of communicating with this person for quite some time. So just remember that and start to form those kind of connections, those relationships, those bonds, and just get to know them, and be a human, be yourself, be likable. Don't try and I don't know, tick things off a list, like, oh, and now I must ask them this, now I must ask them that. Because as soon as you do that, they're not going to kind of connect with you, and they're not going to feel like a warmth from you. They're not going to want to join your team. So yeah, just remember to be human and remember to be yourself, really.
Okay, so we'll go into my strategy. So from the second I start talking to people, the goal is always to get them to the masterclass. However, to get there, you need to, my first goal is to identify a pain point or a strength as soon as the conversation starts. So I've got down here some pain points: overworked, underpaid, lack of family time, or illness, self or family. Could anyone add any more pain points that they've experienced?
Tiredness, like 60-hour, 70-hour weeks, which brings along with like lack of time, I guess. Yeah. Might tie in with family time, that one.
Financial.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry,
financial.
Yeah.
Financial pain point, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Location. So not being able to kind of travel, not being able to get holidays, things like that in. Basically a pain point. It sounds horrible. When I first heard the term pain point, I was like, geez, I don't want to upset people. Yeah. But basically a pain point is just something like an issue or something they're not happy with in their life. And it's you relating to them on that level, and also showing them an opportunity that can solve that problem in their life. So yeah, don't try and think of a pain point as in like you're literally like, don't know, hurting someone and trying to get all of their like worries and stresses out. It's just finding something that they want to get away from, or something they want more of. So they want more time with their family. They want to have more time at home, so they're not getting as ill, or they want more money. They want to be able to travel the world. So it's basically just finding a problem within their life and also finding a solution for them. And be the solution.
I was going to say, I've directly asked people before, what are your bugbears, rather than using sort of pain point. I've sort of said, what bugbears do you have? And they have come back with responses, and then obviously you can sort of go back to them with positives, in response to that.
Yeah, and then strengths. So this one's funny, and it's probably not something most people have thought about, but it is really easy to spin these around and get them straight to the webinar within like 5 minutes of speaking to them. So if someone's a people person and you said, oh, what do you do at the moment? And it just so happens they work in sales or they work in marketing already, you can just say, well, I already know you'll absolutely smash this opportunity, because we deal with people every day through our adverts. And if you've got a knack for talking to people, then you're going to be able to get people signing up, affiliating easy, and you're going to fly through the ranks, fly through the commission, and be out of that job that you don't want to be in quick. If they're a business person, talk to them about how the business works and say, well, the business is bloody amazing. Like, there's nothing else out there. The commission structure is patented and no one else can use it because of how damn good it is. Like, you're going to be, and talk about money as well. Money is a big seller for business-minded people. So you can say per sale, you're going to be getting between £300 and £3,000. Tell me another sale you can make, or go and open an Amazon business where you're going to make that amount of money from a single sale. And that will instantly turn those people's ears round to your voice, and they're going to want to do whatever you say because they're going to be attracted to that financial gain. Fitness and health people, they're also really easy. It's more of an offline sale because you can divulge the products offline, but online you can just say, yeah, we work with in the health sector, this, that, and the other. Find out where they work, and you can almost go and say, like, yeah, the products that we deal with, yes, we use them to get affiliated, but a lot of us end up absolutely loving them. And then it will bolster your performance if you're a bodybuilder, it bolster your performance if you're an athlete, etc. And just basic, you need to just spin strengths background to why this opportunity is going to be perfect for this person.
The way that I kind of open the floor for both a pain point and a strength opportunity and a message is I'll kind of start speaking to someone. I'll say, hi, how are you? How's your day been? And we start a little conversation, and then when they say, oh, so what is this? Have you got any more information for me? Or what is it that you're advertising? I then usually kind of say, what's going on in your life now that makes you want an online business, or is the reason that you're looking for an online opportunity? And at that point, they'll either go to a pain point and say, I'm overworked, I'm underpaid, I want more time with my family, or they'll be like, I'm not getting fulfillment from my job, I want to run my own business, I want to speak to more people, or I want to focus on kind of health and fitness. Like, they'll go to either side of it. And then again, you can kind of either pick up on the pain point and just say, I completely understand, I can relate to you, I was in exactly the same position. Or you can use somebody else's story. So you can use like Adam's story, that many of you know, working for 10 years and getting a 1% pay increase. You can use Richard's story, where it's like manual labour, and he couldn't physically do it because of illness. So you can use everybody else's story as well as your own for the pain points. But then if they come back with a strength, then again, you can use that. Just be like, oh, that's great. You'd be perfect for this opportunity. And that's how I kind of set the bar to kind of, I don't know, open up the floor so that they'll kind of give me a pain point or a strength. And then that's how I kind of reply to them.
So an example I'll give is my latest sign up, Ellie. She has tried multiple other online opportunities or sales opportunities. Like, for example, I'll just give one example, Avon. I don't know if she's actually done that one, but I know a lot of people that do it, and they just never made ends meet for her. So I turned it around and said that it's fantastic that you've tried these other things, because it means that when you see a good one, you're going to know it's a good one. And I can tell you now, I'm offering a good one. And then you go into why it's a good one, and then they ask you questions and you answer their questions, but they're all ears because you've taken what they've already done and made it seem as if it's going to 10x this opportunity, to put it into our terms. So it's very easy to keep the positives flowing with a strength. With a negative, which is the pain point, the fact that you can swap it from a negative to a positive is an instant sale for someone. They'll be all ears from that point on until you say something that they don't want to hear. Okay, so then basically use them, but remain human. Use empathy when using them, because you don't want to abuse them, because it's just an instant turn off. So keep an engagement after you've got them to start messaging. So I've had it myself in the past where they ask for more info, you message them, and they just instantly turn off. They don't care. It may have just done it because they saw everyone else commenting on your ad saying more info, so they wanted more info. But then when it actually comes down to it, they didn't. But once you've got that conversation started and someone's invested that little bit of time, if you can keep the engagement going, then they're going to stick around until the very end when you try to push them to the masterclass. So the easiest way of doing this is to ask people's opinion, simply because people have always got one. It doesn't matter who it is. It could be the quietest person in the room, the loudest person in the room. They've got an opinion. A lot of people love sharing it, but some need a little push to share it. So if you give them that little nudge, they'll give you your opinion, and then you can validate what they say, affirm what they say, and they instantly think that you care, which you do, because you're treating them as a friend, and you need to care because they could end up on your team. So yeah, it's basically just drive engagement through asking questions. Like, just because you're the one offering the opportunity doesn't mean that you have to be the one that's receiving questions. So always check if they understand, if they want more clarification, and if they're happy with what they're seeing.
And anyone got any questions so far? Just thought I'd ask. No?
I'll just nip in there. When Tom mentioned about he's mentioned it a few times, the end goal is to get people to watch the webinar or masterclass. But as well, I don't know if everyone knows this, but try and push people to watch the replay of the webinar like as soon as they physically possibly can. Don't, like, some people will message me and say, oh yeah, it's say it's the middle of the week like now. Have you got do I have to wait until Sunday, or I'm not available at Sunday at 7 p.m? Immediately just push them to watch the replay of the webinar, which they will get immediately after they register on an email. And ask your coach if they have the link, just to fire it over as well. As long as you get their name and email, that will be your lead. But yeah, don't sort of have people sitting around 3, 4 or 5 days to watch the live one when they can watch the replay straight away.
I think the term is strike while the iron's hot. Is that it? Mm-hmm. So yep. As soon as they're kind of interested, they've got that little bit of a buzz, they've spoken to you, and their mind's going, oh my God, this looks really incredible, blah, blah, blah. But then if you leave it until kind of 3 or 4 days, they're going to have other things going on in their life. They're going to become like a cold lead almost. They might even start ignoring your messages. So yeah, the best thing to do is obviously the replay is live the entire week. Just literally, as soon as they're like, oh, I'm interested, great, send them the replay link and get them to watch it straight away. And if they do kind of come back at you with, oh, wait for the live, or I want to watch the live one, just tell them the only difference is that you can't comment in the live chat box underneath. Most people don't comment in there anyway. You've got to get like 3 or 4 people that will comment on a Sunday. So that's the only difference, is that their questions wouldn't get answered live on air. And just say, look, the only difference is that you won't have the chat box at the bottom. They're generally kind of very similar every single week. But if you have any questions, send them over to me and I'll be more than happy to answer them straight away for you. Because then they're like, oh, okay, well, my questions are still going to get answered. That's the only difference anyway. I'll watch this one.
Yeah, and tell them to write the questions down and give them all to you after the end of the webinar, because what I find is people start watching it, they're 10 minutes in, and they ask me questions what are answered 30 minutes in, etc., etc. So if they write everything down and ask questions after they've watched it.
Just to add to that, when you're messaging them to get them to the webinar, so once you've sent them your link to get them to become a lead and to go through to watch the webinar, give them a guide of what to expect when sending them to your page. Because if you say to them, right, so if you jump onto my page, here's the link, enter your name and email address, and then you'll be taken to another page, just click the big orange button and you'll be taken straight to the replay. If you give them, if you tell them what to expect when they get there and they hit the thank you page, which they may not be expecting otherwise, they won't be like, oh, what is this? They'll go straight through to the webinar because you told them about the big orange button.
Yeah, I'll start doing that in my ads actually. I added that to ads so that when at the link they added in, tell them what they're gonna get. You're gonna get this page, any email, you're gonna get to the next page. Replays in there, big orange button, as you say.
Yeah.
Take them through, so like walk them through the process, so they're not scared of clicking on the link and then not seeing anything or not liking what they see or stuff. So it's kind of pre-framing them, I guess, for what they're going to see on the other side.
Yeah. What do you do, Ali, to know that page is there?
Sorry, what was that?
What would you do to see with your own eyes that page is there?
What would I do? Just like in terms of clicking it?
I know that you put your name and email in yourself, don't you?
Oh, all the time, yeah. Regularly.
Yeah. So
just checking it's working.
Yeah. So that's what I would do if anyone who's not sure what the page looks like, what me, Ali, and Tom are talking about, where they can click the webinar replay, just put your name and email in your landing page yourself, and you'll see that exactly what comes up on the next page for them to expect.
Yeah, and you can have the replay ready in your links as well. So I always have when I've signed up myself, I'll have the next page ready if they've already on my lead sheet and they've come back to me like a few days later and said, oh, I haven't had a chance to watch it. I said, oh, here's the direct link to it, because I know they're on my lead sheet. I'm not going to lose them as a lead, so I can put them straight into the webinar and they don't have to faff around trying to log in again and doing that. So
yeah, definitely. If any of you haven't checked out your own kind of website, essentially, do it, because how you expect kind of anybody else to go through that process when you don't even know what's there yourself. It's something I've been kind of really speaking about on the 30-day groups in terms of kind of the language that's used. So if your website says webinar, make sure in your ads you're using webinar. If your website says masterclass, make sure you're using masterclass within your ads, just because it really kind of streamlines the process for the person that's clicking on your ad. They're not kind of, the ad doesn't say, check out my masterclass, then they get on the website and it's like, here's the webinar. To us, it's exactly the same thing. But before starting in this business, did you know if there was a difference or what either one of them were? No. So kind of just really kind of streamline that for anyone that's clicking on your ad. Just completely understand your website and the steps and the processes to kind of get through to the webinar, just so that the more that you understand it, the easier it is to explain to people that you're speaking to, and the more likely they are to kind of sign up. That's all.
So, got a quick question.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tom, I'm not sure if you're about to go through this and show and tell part, but what would you say in terms of when you sometimes run an ad and then you get leads, but your leads don't comment info or anything, they go straight to the landing page, but then obviously you want to follow up with them and check, did they watch it? How did they find it? Obviously, all the information you've got is just their email address. So you can sometimes take that email address, put it in the search bar of Facebook, but then sometimes if it's a common name, you could get 25 people.
Yeah.
You don't know. So I wanted to follow up in an email. Is there anything you guys would recommend to sort of specifically say in that email? Because I know that they get follow-up emails once they've joined the webinar for a few days. But because you haven't spoken to them directly, you don't really know what's happening. So I was just wondering if anybody had any experience of that. And
what you could do, Charisse, is every lead that comes through like your sheet but does that, but you don't have contact with them directly, they will, the page after they've registered says to add me on Facebook, you know, on my second Facebook profile. So the chances, about 50% of people do that. So the chances are, if you have a look on my friends list on that one, that they will be on there. If not, because as I say, some people don't even bother doing that as well. I guess it's just a case of letting the system do the work for us. Don't know if you've got any other input on that, Tom.
So I do. I take their name, not only their email address, and search it on Facebook. Yes, if it's like Paul Barker or something, it will come up with an absolute shit ton of them. But you know what you've been targeting, so you can kind of go through and go, no, it wasn't you, you got grey hair, wasn't you. Oh, I was targeting football, this guy's wearing a Liverpool shirt, it could be him. And then just have a look.
You might get some free leads out of it.
You might get lucky and just happen to find them, and then you can drop them a message or something. Like, even if it, like Lily just said, even if it goes as far as you think it's this person, you say, hey, you've just gone to my website, and they haven't, that you might pique their interest and go, oh, this person's following up because someone went to his website. What are you up to? And then you've got a second lead with the same name.
I had a situation before where somebody had actually like signed up to CEO, but they didn't add anyone on Facebook. They like wasn't answering. I actually directly emailed them. They wasn't answering emails. Couldn't find them anywhere. But they'd still gone through and done their coaching questionnaire. And at the bottom of there, you put your phone number. But there was actually a number missing from that. I don't know if you remember this, Adam. There was actually a number missing from their phone number. So I just guessed that it would be like a 77 at 077. So I just randomly messaged someone. And I remember like messaging Adam and being like, well, worst case scenario, they're going to ask me what the hell I'm on about. But generally, I just kind of say, if you want to send them an email, that's absolutely fine. It depends how much like effort you want to put into your 10% of the system. So obviously we say it's 90% done for you. They are obviously getting those emails because they've been set up, they're being sent out to everyone. So it really, really depends on the individual and how much time and energy you want to put into that 10% of yours. The email is like a play it safe sort of thing because there's only one person with that email. So you could just kind of put them an email and just say, hey, use their name, but they've put on the lead sheet. I noticed that you've recently visited my website. Did you have any questions? And did you manage to watch the masterclass? If you want to add me on Facebook, this is my name, maybe. I look forward to hearing from you. Many thanks, Charisse.
That's cool. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. I don't think I'll work that hard. I want to work smarter, not harder. But
yeah.
No, it's just because I had somebody who kept on putting their name in the lead sheet, and it made me think, I wonder if they're actually having problems watching it. And then I tried to get in touch with them and then realized they didn't leave any info, couldn't find them on Facebook, all sorts. So I was just like curious about that. But yeah, I have had that in the past. I had a sign up who just was pretty much, I think, a ghost because I don't know where they are. So I've tried a few things, what you both mentioned in the past. But yeah.
Although you say that, Charisse, when you signed up, you were a ghost to me.
I know, you couldn't find me.
On Facebook was different to the surname that you signed up with. And I was like, who is this girl?
No.
You're the world's worst. You were the ghost.
Yeah, guilty.
Just to like finalise on this conversation, from a legal standpoint, given my background in IT and not like 80% of my job is around data protection law, as soon as someone inputs their data onto your website, if you own that domain, they have given you the right to use it however you please. So you could, like, all those people that sell contact lists, they're within their right because they've somehow got that person to divulge their contact information. So if you want to send them emails, if you want to Google their email address because you could find they're signed up on something else with the same profile picture, then you can do that. You're completely within your rights and within the law to do that.
There you go, stalk the life out of them.
Yeah, it is super stalky, Googling someone's email address, but at the end of the day,
find them on LinkedIn.
They might end up being a trifecta.
Yeah, I'd agree with Google, definitely. That was quite useful for finding people. Because they might have a Twitter account, they might have some other account on that email address, and then you've got them. Or they might. I think I had a guy who was a personal trainer, but I couldn't find him, and searched his. I think I found him on Facebook, and then found a company on his Facebook, and then used his email, and he popped up. So yeah, Google's probably the best way if you can't find him on Facebook.
Right then, let's move on. So show and tell. This is mainly about, like, mainly for when you get those skeptics and they're asking for proof that it works or saying that it doesn't work. It's basically giving them the proof of the pudding, really. So the main takeaways from this is only to really use it against skeptics. It is hard, but it is possible. So just use the CEO Facebook page. So because there are shit tons of testimonials on there. So just send them there because they're all available to view. So send them there. If they still aren't willing to bite, then whatever. It's not someone you want on your team if they're not open-minded enough to accept someone's word. I mean, especially Richard's video where he's sat with his prize behind him. So show them how the business works. Tell them how it works, because I get a lot of questions when they say, so what are we actually selling? We don't actually really sell anything. We market an opportunity to change your life via a business. So you tell them that. And then another thing I get asked a lot is, why is it 90% done? Do I lose money, etc., because I'm only doing 10% of the work? So you just say, look, no, you do a 10% of the work, but you're keeping 100% of the profit that you make. It is a win-win situation. It's a common thing that I say to people is, if they say if their pain point is overworked and underpaid, I reverse it and say, let's take you from that and make you underworked and overpaid. And that is a big seller for me. A lot of people go straight through to lead and straight through to the masterclass because of that simple line. What else have we got down here? So you need to be careful when using this, because you could almost fall into the trap of divulging too much information. So if you accidentally slip a magic in there, they might end up going and finding out about it and going down the route of becoming a distributor on their own or starting their own CEO movement, and then you've completely lost out. So you've got to tread lightly, but be open, because it is an amazing opportunity. And if you're proud of what you're selling, then people are going to be like, yeah, okay, this guy absolutely loves it, so I'm going to be open and give it a try. And just another one about skeptics. If they're skeptic and they're slightly negative towards it, if you can turn them round, it is honestly, it's more likely that they'll sign up, because being taken from a negative standpoint to a positive standpoint is so fulfilling that people would just want to eat your pudding. They just want more of it. So if you can convert a negative person, then one, you're an absolutely quality salesperson, and two, if you can sell a negative person, you can sell a positive person in your sleep.
Just jump in on that as well. When you're doing all the negative stuff, I used to get rid of them off my page. If there was a negative comment, I'd delete it. Now I actually see it as a challenge, and I'll turn them around.
Definitely.
I'll message them back, and it looks better on your page as well. If they've said something, you responded, going back and forth. And there's someone said, what's the catch? The other day, I think I went back and responded and said, oh, you need to do a lot of personal development. You need to better build your business. And then we had a kind of conversation on my wall of the post. And then, yeah, you kind of turn into a lead. So it works that way. It's quite good.
Has anyone got any questions about everything that we've gone through so far? Because the next thing is applicable to what we're going through now, but it's also applicable to just general ads and running your business. So no? Okay.
No, I wanted to ask something. Sorry, I'm just trying to find the button. I was just wondering if anyone's used Dynamic Creative yet, and what you've found with it. Because I just don't understand it at all.
I've not tried it.
I haven't.
Nah.
I think that's a lot of no's.
I'm not done.
I ticked the button and then it seemed to just not do anything. I got all to the end and I don't know if it's actually done something or not or what.
No idea, mate. We'll try.
Well, thanks for the help, everyone.
We'll try it and let you know, but that's
yeah, I'm gonna keep trying and see if anything comes out of it.
you looked on YouTube or anything like that?
Yeah, I might try that. That's a really good idea. Yeah.
Let us know how you get on.
Yes, I will. I will do. I'll bring that to the table.
Anything else?
Any more?
I had one the other week that said, to interrupt, sorry, that said, why is it limited spaces? And I had thought about it. I wasn't sure how I'd respond to that, but I did say the interaction thing, which is what you guys mentioned earlier about saying it's live, it's interactive. We try to limit numbers because of that, and that's how it works.
Just so with the masterclass, just say that it's simply because the host can only answer so many questions, and if there's 1,000 people in there, it's never going to get round to you. So I think in that situation, always turn it back round to them and make them feel special.
Yeah, how it's going to benefit them.
So we'll get on with persuasion then. So the 6 principles of persuasion. I know I went through this with James on a call yesterday, and he seemed to like them. So I'll share the book later, but they're basically, the guy is a doctor of marketing and psychology, and these are his 6 main points about persuasion in general. So as we're advertising and marketing, our whole career business is built around the art of persuasion. So these are them. If you want me to send an image of this out later, then you're more than welcome. Just drop me a message. So the first one is, 1 minute, I need to figure out how to pronounce it again. Reciprocity, I think. So it's the act of making someone feel indebted to you, so they want to repay you. Basically, if you appear to be giving them something, they're going to want to do and give back to you. So if you're asking them to go to a webinar or a masterclass, they're going to be more likely to go because you've just appeared to give them something. So it's just making someone feel indebted, like they owe you something. So an example is, in the US, a lot of them use a free ebook on their ad. So they receive that ebook, it tells them the secrets of that top lifestyle, and then from then on, they're like, oh, this guy just gave me an ebook, so I need to give him something back. It's completely subconscious, they don't realize they're doing it, but they're going to do it. And another way you can approach this is when people, I get it a lot, well, not so much anymore, but I used to get it a lot, was the question, why do you want to do all this for me? Why are you giving me a 90% system? And you say, I want to do this for you, because as soon as you add that because, whatever you say after that, it doesn't matter, because as soon as they hear the word because, they're all ears and they're like, okay, I'll do it. And then the second one is creating scarcity. So make it appear like there's limited availability or time to complete an action. So like Ali was just talking about, put in that there are only 10 spaces available or 12 hours left to watch the replay, because it makes it feel like exclusive, and people like exclusivity, which is another the lust for exclusivity is why celebrities are so profound and why they're used in marketing opportunities all around the world. Because if someone sees this exclusive person, Dwayne Johnson, for example, promoting an aftershave, people are going to be like, well, I love Dwayne Johnson, I think he's amazing, so I'm going to buy that aftershave and smell like him. So it's achieved through saying there's a limited amount. Authority, make it known that you're the authority or expert. People love listening to people that are seen as experts, and they want to do as they do.
So in terms of for me, being an expert, you guys might, especially if you've just got started, you might be thinking but I'm not really an expert, I don't really know much, I only got started a week or 2 ago, this is my first ad, etc. First of all, you guys are an authority and you guys are experts because you've taken that step that many and most won't. And you've actually stepped outside your comfort zone. You're doing something that's completely new. And you've already been in this system. You've worked your way through the training. You've got a wealth of knowledge that the person that's commenting on your ad or that's speaking to you hasn't got at the moment. So my advice on kind of being authoritative or being an expert is just to kind of believe in yourself. These people are looking up to you now as kind of everything they want, and yeah, they're just kind of like trusting you because you've taken that step, and it's the steps that they would want to take as well. So yeah, my kind of take on that is just kind of believe in yourself and just kind of give them as much as you can. Just say to them, look, I was in exactly the same position as you are, but this is where I am now.
So examples I've got down are football pundits. People listen to them and eat up everything they say, even if it's just opinion. Speakers, Tony Robbins, whenever he says something, 1 million people jump and do it. And then just from another science background, Brian Cox or Stephen Hawking, whenever they said anything, it became gospel. So then moving on, consistency, never change your theme tune. So if you say something at one point in your ad, so if you say, for example, I said in my ad at the moment that I've been doing this for 2 months and I'm already planning my escape from the 9 to 5. When I'm talking to people and they say, oh, you've only been doing it for 2 months, I'm open about the fact that I'm still in my job, but I know that I'm going to be quitting it because I know this is going to be a success. So my theme tune is that this works, basically. So it's achieved through being consistent and keeping everything consistent. So if you say in your ad, I quit my job in 6 months, only ever say that you'll get them to quit their job in 6 months or more. And you can back that up by saying it's hard work. You've got to put it in. You've got to dig, delve and sweat blood, but it's achievable and I've done it. And in saying that you've done it, you've also created authority. And then liking, so you need to be a genuine human and be nice. People like nice. It's basically just being likable. People would be more likely to want to join the team if they like you. So for example, my example is Apple. Every single year, Apple release a new iPhone, and every single year, millions of people jump to buy it because they like Apple. That's the only reason. They don't have another reason. It's literally just, oh, I like iPhones. So if you're likable, then people are more willing to eat what you're saying. And then the final one is consensus, which simply is social proof. So any likes, comments, shares that you get on your ads, any reviews that you've got on your page, or any results that you can speak of. Any questions? Does anybody want anything clarifying more?
Yeah, Tom, what book did you get? What book is this?
It's called Influence.
Influence, gotcha.
I'll send a link in the UK chat to it on Amazon.
Cool, thanks.
So now really I just want to go through people's like general idea of how a conversation should flow when speaking to a lead. I know we're probably getting on, but I think it would be good now we've gone through this and what I do to kind of go through and see what people do. So if we start off with people have gone and said more info, and then you instantly go, hey, Bert, how are you today? And then where would you go after that?
I would ask them what I used to put, ask them if they're working or what they're doing, and then I found it was just narrowing down my answers to either I'm working or I'm not working. So I tend to say, what's got you wanting to work from home, to start up a dialogue, and then I kind of just take it from there depending on what they say.
Mm-hmm.
Ali, you unmuted, yeah?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I do exactly the same thing. Sorry, I talked over then. Go, Ali.
Carry on. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it was the same pretty much. I mean, yeah, I'll just use that brief kind of paragraph, similar that Rob put up, I think, a while ago, on the group chat somewhere, just like, thanks for commenting. What about it resonated with you, and what is happening in your life right now as interest in starting an online business? And usually I get kind of detail. I can get detailed response. Can just get kind of tell me more info from that. But from that, you venture off into what their pain points are. So I work so many hours, all that stuff. And you can use that. I kind of use that. I do feel that my second part is quite long chunk of text. So I kind of just go into and explain it all, because I know by that time they're probably wanting more info. So I don't try and have the interaction from that point after the response. So maybe I should. I don't know what you do. So
okay, so I
kind of
go on, Camila, carry on.
Sorry, Tom. I was just going to say, I kind of judge it on what I'm getting from that person. Like some people, I will find that you get a lot of engagement and interaction before you even kind of go into anything. And I feel that that's quite nice, because you kind of get to know the person. But I just to some degree, I kind of let how they want to chat about, how much they want to chat about stuff. And some people want to know information straight away. But I always kind of try and get, like you were saying, their pain points. I've not ever thought about trying to get their strengths, but I always try and get their pain points. And then you might just chit chat for a little while, or you might kind of go more into what it is that that I do. So I kind of say I'm an affiliate marketer, and in short what that basically means is I run ads online, they bring in leads, and then sales are closed for me.
Okay, so my second part, once they've responded to "Hey, how are you?" is basically the goal of the next message is to get their pain point or their strength or their story, because if they give you a slight story, then you can divulge a pain point or a strength from it. But my basic question is, just to keep it short and sweet, is what is it that has you looking for an online opportunity right now?
Yeah, that's very similar to what I say to people.
I was just going to say, in terms of, Ali, you just said that your second kind of message is quite long. What I do and what I'd recommend is just try and kind of ask one question at a time. Like, ask them something and get an answer, then ask something else, get an answer, and just try and keep it like short and sweet, because then it's not a big block of text and they're not just going to look at it and be like, oh, I can't bother to read that, or not just going to like completely cut the conversation with you and just go to the website, and then like whether they do or don't go through as a lead.
Yeah, it's definitely been working quite well in terms of conversions to from text, but I do feel that I could probably work a bit harder on it in terms of having the actual interaction with them, going back and forth, just to get them maybe a bit more, I guess, excited about the webinar. Maybe I'm just kind of lumping them in text. They go, oh yeah, I'd love to see the webinar, and I'll send a link. They're on the lead sheet, but then are they actually going to go off and watch it, or is there a bit more work I could do to get them motivated, I guess, to get on it and watch it now?
Yeah, I know. Obviously, like, I've studied marketing, and Josh works in marketing currently. And something we kind of like agree on and always try and express is just to kind of make that connection and build relationships, just because people believe people, like, it's a proven marketing tactic that the more proof you can get and the more kind of reviews. You guys will know, if you're looking to buy something online, the first thing you do is check out the reviews to see what people have said. So if you build that connection with them and they've got that kind of bond, people believe people more than they do anything else. So definitely try and create more of a conversation with them and more of that connection, I'd say.
Tom, do you literally just go in with "Hey, how are you?" or do you do a bit more than that?
I pretty much, yeah, just short, sweet, simple, general. They're used to seeing it every day. So yeah. It's almost, I think the reason I settled on it, because I've tried a few things, is because it's kind of the message you receive from someone that's a friend and you've not spoken to for a while. Like, it's very, very relaxed, very chill, very informal.
Do you go with how's your day going, or how's you?
Yeah.
Or?
For example, if I get someone on like a Friday or Wednesday, happy hump day, happy Friday.
How's your evening?
Or how's your Friday going? Are you excited to finish work?
How's your Monday been? Yeah.
Just keep it as casual as you can, like as friendly as you can. That's my general approach to any message, unless they openly like almost insult what I'm doing or what I'm selling, and then I get a bit more like straight to the point with them. But after finding out their pain points or strengths, I just affirm them, say I understand, or say me too. If only if it's relatable. You need to keep everything you say true, because you could get caught out later down the line.
So, for instance, if someone's a builder and they say to me, like, oh, I've had a really hard day, I've laid like 150 bricks, I'm not going to be like, yeah, me too. I definitely have not done that. So just definitely try and be honest, try and kind of be true to what you're saying. Camila is literally wetting herself laughing. But yeah, just try and kind of be as honest as you can. And yeah, just relate to them. And as I said previously, if you can't relate to them, use somebody else's story from the community that will relate with them.
I've also tried controversial responses, and they have been received well sometimes, but it really depends on the type of person you're speaking to. I'd maybe stalk their profile a little bit before you choose to use a controversial response. So kind of like almost taking the piss out of what they've said, and then you get them hooked, and they're like, oh, like why? What do you mean? And then you go into like, oh yeah, I used to be the same, and just be really coy about why you've been a bastard to them.
That's not my approach. I'm not very good at that.
I only did it through test because in a little ebook I read, it said that being controversial is like, even though it can seem negative, it can also seem really funny. And if you cause humour, you have like 5 or 6 seconds where you basically just straight into the back of their mind, and then they can't stop thinking about what you say. So next, a statement I always use is, let's change it from this to this. So whatever their pain point was, use that and say you can, this opportunity can change it to this. So my big example was underpaid, overworked to underworked and overpaid. Simply because those sort of statements pique interest. Other words and phrases I use to keep them interested and to cause interaction are like, are you ready to move on to the next steps? Like if they've had a lot of information, are you ready to move on? Are you ready to watch the webinar? And then they say yes, and then you've basically been affirmed at that point that they want to pursue this further. Also make assumptions, like seems like you're ready for the next step. That one seems to be quite good. And then after you've sent them to the webinar, just say like, oh yeah, I'm really excited to get you involved with my team, with the community, and started on this journey with an online business.
Make it kind of like, at that point, kind of make it all inclusive, so that like they're already a part of your team. Like, oh, I'm so happy and excited to get you up and running. Can't wait for you to be in the community and kind of get started with the training, and make it as if they're already there.
And then my only other thing that I've got down is excuse makers. Oh, I've not had time tonight. Can I watch it tomorrow? Say yes, be friendly, but just say that you'll stay in contact, and then actually do follow up. If you say tomorrow, you say Friday, follow up tomorrow or follow up Friday, because it'll show you're organised, and it'll also show that you're like true to your word and that you care because you're following up. And then finally is just the asset to my team. It's just so simple and so effective because you're almost already including them, and if they feel included, then it might just be the tipping point for them going further and signing up and affiliating.
That makes sense to everyone?
The book's closed now, so the mastermind's over.
Anybody got any questions at all? It's really funny, can I just say, you guys probably notice this anyway, but when you all laugh, because you've all muted, I can just see like all over the place. It's really hilarious. Any questions at all?
I have. It might be probably stupid anyway, but I don't know why I did it. It just, I don't know, my fingers had a mind of their own when I was typing. And I said to a prospect, the replay won't stay up there for long because I want them to go and watch it. But I'm actually not sure if it is actually still there all week. Because I remember at one point they were discussing actually not having it for the whole week. I just want to make...
a week, yeah.
It's still a week, isn't it, Ali?
Yeah,
okay.
Until Sunday. I think it gets removed on Sunday morning, I think, if I'm right.
Sunday, yeah, okay, cool. That's fine.
Yeah, so basically in terms of like funnel language, we embed a code to the live YouTube video. So on a Sunday morning, we get a new kind of live code to embed. So on a Sunday morning, the replay is taken down. So technically, that specific masterclass won't be there forever. So you are right, because
that's all right.
it will be a new one. So,
all right, that's fine.
It's kind of all right.
No problem.
And also as well, you know, the webinar is going to be changing because of all of the new changes. When is that likely to happen?
It's already happened.
Yeah, it already started last week.
Oh, so because I thought it was like an on-demand thing, so that it was just, is it the same one all the time?
At the moment, we're still doing, do you mean like a kind of ever webinar where it's like constantly a replay?
Yeah.
At the moment, what we've done is we've switched up kind of the slides and the presentation style. So it is a different kind of rejig completely of the webinar, but it is still live, and the replay kind of live on a Sunday, replay throughout the week at the moment.
Okay, that's good, because obviously I always sort of tell them it's live. Well, ask all the questions that you can. They're going to be answered, you know, live. So I wanted to know if that was going to be changing. Then obviously that wouldn't be something that I would say.
Yeah, no, so not at the moment. As I say, the only thing that's really changed at the moment is like the content and how it's delivered. So if you guys kind of want to know, like, as I say, it has changed. So if you want to know what's going on, it's going to be different from when you guys joined. So if someone's asking you questions and you haven't had a chance to catch up on the new version, you're going to have no idea what they're on about. So when you get a chance, try and catch the replay yourself to see what's actually going on in the masterclass/webinar now. So any questions that you might have, you can answer. Otherwise, you'll be stumped, and they'll be waiting like hours whilst you watch the webinar to get back to their questions. So yeah, when you guys get a chance, just try and have a watch of that, just so you know what's going on.
Yeah, Rob was on R1 this weekend, which she hasn't been on for ages. I don't know when the last time it was, but Rob was on R1, so.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Which is quite exciting, I guess.
Well, I've got about an hour trip tomorrow. I'm going from my dad's to my brother's, so I will try and catch up on it then, so that I'm all informed.
Yeah, definitely. And as kind of Ali said, there's a rejig of who's presenting what and when. So yeah, it'd be really good that you guys know, because if somebody messaged you and said, who's that American guy on the mastermind, you're going to be like, who the hell is that American guy? I have no idea. What American guy? So yeah, definitely worth kind of checking it out and knowing what's going on. Again, it's part of your business. It's questions you're going to get, so it's good to have the answers.
Well, Rob, will that be happening every week then? Or was that just a one-off? Because I was like, what's he doing on there?
I was the same. I was like, whoa.
Whoa. Hello?
Adam might have a bit more information to divulge.
Yeah, Ryan told me it's just a one-off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just because it were a new one, Rob took the first sort of half while Ryan sort of watched him and helped out a bit. But Ryan told me that from this week it'll be his story and he'll be doing it.
Okay.
So again, next week you'll probably have to watch it again. Any more? I'm sorry guys, I'm just watching Rachel's little girl, like what's happening. So if you guys haven't got any more questions, we can leave it there, and if you want anything answered, type Tom a message.
Yeah,
Send them all over to Tom today.
Just to finish up, I just wanted to say, like, thank you for sticking it out and being here and asking questions and interacting. It would be nice in general for more people to interact on this level with future masterminds.
I think for me, like once I've muted myself, I kind of go into watching mode. So because obviously we kind of like have the presentations, I'm like, okay, no, I'm just watching, and I don't want to like unmute. And always when I do unmute and talk myself, I always talk over somebody. I've just got bad timing that way.
I think it's just the thing, because you're not there in person, you can't really give any sign that you want to speak. So I think it's just a case of just maybe saying you want to speak, and then.
I think some people know how.
Oh, just in the chat.
I'm here, but I don't know how to raise your hand on here. Somebody done it before though, and I was like, this is really cool. If anyone can figure that out, that could also be an option. Oh, there we go. Faye raised her hand. How did you do that, Faye?
I've put it on. I don't know. I've clicked something on the side. So above the Zoom group chat, you've got participants or something like that. Or see participants, and then I can click just beneath that, raise hand.
Oh, great.
Very good.
Oh God, we got.
Oh yeah, I found it.
So click.
Everybody, raise your hands.
Lower hand. Raise hand.
Well, there you go. If there's something you really want to say, and we're kind of like in the middle of a presentation, raise your hand, ladies and gents. Right then, guys, if that's it, everyone ready to go? Yeah?
Yep.
Catch you next week. Bye.
See you next week.
Thanks, guys.